My name is Olivia Hayes. And if you saw me today, sitting in my glass-walled office on the 32nd floor, silk blouse smoothed, gold pen tapping against a contract worth more than I once dreamed possible, you'd probably think I had it all figured out. But the truth is, I keep certain chapters of my story locked away. Some wounds, even after success, still ache when touched. The city hums beneath me, taxis honking, people rushing, a blur of lives colliding. I sip my coffee, the lipstick stain on the rim catching my eye, when my phone buzzes across the desk. I glance down. It's her name, Rachel Miller. My cousin. The one person I swore I'd never hear from again. My stomach tightens. Funny, isn't it? How years of distance can vanish with just one notification. I swipe the screen, hesitating, then reading the message. Olivia, can we talk? I need your help. It's about the brand.
The brand.
The very thing she once stole from me, back when I was too naive, too desperate to believe blood meant loyalty. I lean back in my chair, eyes on the skyline, a bitter smile tugging at my lips. Help? After everything? I press the phone flat against the desk, my pulse quickening, memories clawing their way back. And just like that, the past I buried so carefully begins to resurface. I wasn't always this composed woman in heels and silk. There was a time when I was just a 20-year-old girl, chasing dreams that felt bigger than me. Back then, I lived in a cramped apartment above a laundromat in upstate New York. The walls smelled faintly of detergent, the pipes clanked whenever someone flushed downstairs, and I used an overturned milk crate as my nightstand. Still, I believed in magic, not the fairy tale kind, but the kind you create with your own hands. I sketched designs late into the night, little emblems, jewelry concepts, words turned into art. One design, in particular, felt special, a sunburst charm with a delicate hidden engraving. Shine in your own light. It wasn't much, just an idea. But to me, it was everything. Rachel was always around back then. She was older, louder, confident in ways I wasn't. People gravitated toward her. She had the kind of laugh that filled a room and the kind of arrogance that made you second-guess yourself. One evening, I showed her the charm. My hands trembled as I placed the sketchbook in front of her. I think this could be something, maybe even a brand. She smirked, twirling the page between her fingers. It's cute, Liv. But you really think anyone would buy this? Jewelry isn't just doodles on paper. Her words stung, but I brushed it off. I was used to being underestimated. Except a month later, at a family gathering, Rachel stood in the middle of the living room, showing everyone a necklace with my sunburst design. She claimed it was hers, her idea, her creation. I remember the heat in my cheeks, the lump in my throat as my own relatives clapped and praised her creativity. My grandmother, who always believed in me, looked at me across the room. Her eyes softened, full of questions she didn't ask. Later that night, she pressed something into my hand, a silver bracelet etched with the words, "What's meant for you will find its way back." Her voice was steady, filled with the kind of certainty I didn't yet have. Olivia, don't let this break you. One day, you'll show them who you are. On your terms. That night, I sat on the edge of my bed, bracelet warm against my skin, tears blurring my vision. And for the first time, I made a decision. If Rachel wanted to take credit for my gift, fine. Let her. But I would find a way to build something so real, so undeniable, that no one could ever steal it from me again. Starting over felt like standing at the bottom of a mountain with no map, no gear, and only stubbornness to keep me moving. I worked double shifts at a coffee shop, the smell of burnt espresso seeping into my clothes. At night, I came home to my tiny apartment, pulled out my secondhand laptop, and taught myself everything: how to source materials, how to build a website, how to design packaging that didn't look like it belonged in a high school art project. There were nights I cried on my keyboard, the glow of the screen blurring as I whispered, maybe Rachel was right. Maybe I'm not good enough. But then I'd catch sight of the silver bracelet on my wrist, my grandmother's words etched deep into the metal. What's meant for you will find its way back. That bracelet became my anchor. One afternoon, I was sketching at the cafe during a break when a woman noticed. She was older, sharp-eyed, dressed in a crisp navy suit that screamed authority. She asked, "You designed that?" I nodded, embarrassed. She introduced herself as Diana Cole, a retired fashion executive turned consultant. "You've got something here, Olivia," she said, flipping through my notebook like it was treasure. "Raw, but real. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." Those words lit a spark in me. For the first time, someone outside my family believed. Diana became my mentor, guiding me through the basics of business. She didn't sugarcoat it. She told me I'd fail, that the industry was brutal, that most people quit before they ever saw a dime. But she also said something that lodged itself in my chest. The difference between a dreamer and a founder is grit. So I found grit. My first studio was my kitchen counter. My first collection was 5 charms I pieced together from scrap silver and borrowed tools. I photographed them against a wrinkled bedsheet and listed them online. For weeks, nothing. 0 sales. Not even a pity buy from a stranger. Then, one morning, as the sun bled through my blinds, I checked my email and saw it. "You've made a sale. $17. A stranger from Minnesota bought a charm. It wasn't much. But I sat there grinning like I'd just won the lottery, clutching my coffee mug with both hands, heart pounding with validation. That single sale became 10, then 50. A local boutique agreed to stock my pieces. I reinvested every penny, living off instant noodles and tips from the cafe, while my brand, my real brand, slowly took shape. And through it all, I kept quiet. On social media, I posted carefully cropped photos. A coffee cup here, a blurry skyline there. Never the jewelry. Never the brand name. My family assumed I was still stuck, still that dreamer with no direction. But late at night, while the world slept, orders began piling in. My kitchen counter overflowed with packaging tape and padded envelopes. The bracelet on my wrist gleamed under the lamplight, like it knew I was finally stepping into my own light. I was building something no one could steal. Something Rachel would never see coming. The message from Rachel sat on my phone for 2 days before I replied. Not because I didn't know what to say, but because I wanted her to sweat. Finally, I typed back, "Sure. Come by my office." The truth was, she had no idea where that was. For years, my family thought I was still juggling cafe shifts and side hustles. They didn't know that my brand, Lumia, had become one of the fastest-growing independent jewelry lines in the country. They didn't know Forbes had named me one of their 30 under 30. And they certainly didn't know that the charm Rachel once stole was now the logo embossed on velvet boxes across the world. The day Rachel walked into my office, I'll never forget her face. The lobby alone was enough to make her blink. High ceilings, white marble floors, modern art lining the walls. My assistant led her into the conference room, where floor-to-ceiling windows spilled sunlight across a long glass table. I stood at the head of it, in a tailored cream blazer, the silver bracelet still circling my wrist. Rachel froze in the doorway. "Olivia," she whispered, like she was seeing a ghost. I smiled, not cruel, just calm. "Rachel, it's been a while." She stepped inside, her heels clicking nervously against the floor. Her hair was still perfectly styled, her nails manicured, but her confidence that flickered. "This is your office?" I gestured around casually. "One of them." Her eyes darted to the displays on the shelves, prototypes, framed magazine covers, a photo of me and Diana Cole at an awards ceremony. Then her gaze landed on the wall behind me, where the company logo gleamed in polished gold, the sunburst charm. Her mouth fell open. "That's," she started. "Yes." I cut in gently, enjoying the silence that followed. "That's the design you once called cute. The one you held up in front of the family like it was yours." Rachel swallowed hard, color draining from her cheeks. I didn't know." "Of course you didn't," I said smoothly, pouring myself a glass of water. "You never cared enough to ask what I was doing. You assumed I'd always stay small, quiet, forgettable." She shifted uncomfortably in her seat as I continued. But while you were busy chasing quick wins and borrowed ideas, I was building. Nights, weekends, every spare dollar. I built Lumia from scratch. And now, Rachel, I own the brand you once tried to take from me. Silence. The weight of it pressed against us both. Her voice cracked as she finally spoke. Olivia, I'm in trouble. My company, well, what's left of it, it's collapsing. Investors are pulling out. I thought maybe you could help me. Partner with me. You know, family to family. I let out a short laugh, not unkind, but sharp enough to sting. Family. Interesting word coming from you. She looked down at her manicured hands. For the first time, Rachel Miller didn't look untouchable. She looked small. I walked over to the window, staring out at the city that once felt too big for me. Then I turned back, my voice steady. You took my gift, Rachel. You paraded it around as yours. You made me feel invisible. And yet here we are. You asking me for help. Her eyes shone with unshed tears. Please, Liv. I don't know where else to go. For a long moment I said nothing. I simply let her sit in the echo of her own desperation, in the empire she never imagined I could build. Finally I spoke, quiet, deliberate. I'll consider it. But understand this. The terms will be mine. The power is mine. And the brand? That will always be mine. The bracelet on my wrist caught the sunlight, gleaming like a promise fulfilled. Rachel sat across from me, her posture collapsing under the weight of silence. For once, she wasn't the loudest voice in the room. She wasn't the star. She was just a woman who'd run out of shortcuts. I folded my hands on the table, the silver bracelet cool against my wrist. If I help you, Rachel, it won't be the way you imagine. I'm not bailing you out. I'm not handing you money so you can repeat the same mistakes. Her eyes darted up, hopeful and scared at once. Then, what do you mean? I mean, I said slowly, if you want my help, you'll play by my rules. She flinched but nodded. First, I continued, you'll stop pretending. No more smoke and mirrors, no more taking credit for other people's ideas. If you work with me, authenticity is non-negotiable. Her jaw tightened. That one stung, because we both knew it was the truth she'd avoided all her life. Second, you'll start at the bottom. You want to learn branding? Marketing? Production? Fine. You'll shadow my team. You'll fetch coffee, answer phones, sit in meetings, and take notes. You'll learn what it actually means to build something. And you'll do it without cutting corners. Rachel's mouth opened, then closed. The cousin who once rolled her eyes at my sketches, too proud to listen, now had no choice but to swallow her pride. Third, I said, leaning forward, you'll give back. You've burned bridges, Rachel, with family, with friends, with employees. You need to rebuild them. Volunteer. Mentor someone. Prove to the world that you can be more than the girl who takes what isn't hers. Her hands trembled in her lap. Olivia, that's hard. I finished for her. Yes, it is. But you want my help? Those are the conditions. Otherwise, you walk out of here with nothing. Silence stretched between us. For a moment, I thought she might storm out, that familiar fire flashing in her eyes. But instead, she deflated. Shoulders slumping, eyes glistening. Okay, she whispered. I'll do it. Whatever it takes. Something in my chest softened just a little. I wasn't here to destroy her. I was here to protect myself. To draw lines that should have been drawn years ago. I stood, walking toward the shelves where one of my first charms sat framed in glass. The sunburst design. I picked it up, holding it carefully before setting it down between us. Rachel, I said, my voice quieter now, this was never about jewelry. It was about respect. You didn't respect me back then. But if we move forward, that changes. Starting today. She nodded, wiping at her eyes, whispering again, okay. I studied her face, searching for cracks of sincerity. For once, I thought I saw it, the cousin beneath the arrogance, the girl who maybe, just maybe, wanted to change. I gave a small smile, though my tone stayed firm. Good. Then welcome to Lumia, Rachel. Not as my partner. Not as my equal. but as someone finally ready to earn her place. Her breath hitched, part relief, part disbelief. And in that moment, I knew the power shift was complete. Rachel, my cousin, the girl who once strutted through life on shortcuts, now sat at a desk outside my office, headset on, answering calls and filing client requests. At first, she bristled at the work. I saw it in the way she rolled her shoulders, the sighs she thought no one heard. But slowly something shifted. She started arriving early, asking questions, scribbling notes in a notebook that was always open in front of her. One afternoon, I caught her lingering at the design board in the studio, eyes tracing the sketches, lips pressed together. She didn't say it out loud, but I could see it, respect, finally blooming where envy used to live. And maybe that was enough. For me, the transformation wasn't just Rachel's. It was mine. There were nights I sat in my office long after everyone left, city lights flickering through the glass, the bracelet on my wrist cool and familiar. I would turn it over in my fingers, tracing the words etched into the silver. What's meant for you will find its way back. And I realized my grandmother was right all along. Rachel had taken my gift once. She had humiliated me, stolen my light, made me question whether I had any at all. But that pain, it forged me. It pushed me into late nights, small victories, grit I didn't know I had. It gave me my brand, my independence, my voice. The family that once pitted me now looked at me differently. Not as the dreamer who wouldn't grow up, but as the woman who proved them all wrong, not out of revenge, but out of resilience. I don't know if Rachel will ever fully change. Maybe she'll slip back into old habits. Maybe she won't. That part isn't mine to control. What I do know is this. I no longer need her validation. Or anyone else's. I already became the woman I was meant to be. I glance once more at the bracelet, smile softly, and slide it back onto my wrist where it belongs. Then I turn off the lights in my office, leaving only the gold glow of the Sunburst logo shining against the glass wall. And as I walk out into the night, I whisper to myself, steady, certain, unshakable. My cousin once took my gift. Today, I own the brand. And that's the difference between being handed something and earning it.